Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mr. Bench's Book Reviews. What's in the box today? It is this one. It's from the Puddle series. It's called On the Way to the Blue Mountains. Now, this is, I believe, the third book in a series. I'll put the links to the other two, the previous two that I've reviewed here, in the comments, and that way you can get up to speed. But they're meant to be fairly self-contained, so I'm sure we'll get on okay. It's written by Sheila McCullagh, and it's illustrated by John Davis. These guys on the front are the Iron Boy, that one, and the Sandalwood Girl, that one, and they are the principal subjects of the other two books. But yeah, we go very nicely here. Inside cover, most Puddle Lane books start with a picture of Puddle Lane here, like the houses, not a map like this, but this one has a map of the country of Zorn, because that is where we are starting. There are interesting things marked on it, such as the Iron Boy and the Sandalwood Girl landed here, and you can see a flying saucer and an owl flying away. So that's where the story is starting. There's a hare. There are some the fire lizards. There's a river known as Wide River. And there's a river known as Rushing River. It's narrower, which probably means the water moves more quickly. As anyone knows anything about rivers will probably guess. Okay, let's get going. On the way to the Blue Mountains. Blue Mountains capitalised. It's the official name of the mountain range, not just saying it. Those are some old mountains that happen to be blue. Here we go. There was once an old house in Puddle Lane. Oh, I see. They're recapping what happened in the first book, judging by what it looks like here. It's about the Iron Boy. So here's a quick recap. That's nice. So they put that in. So they really are. They don't want you to be able to see if you haven't read the first one. Those that say I have reviewed it, so do check that out if you want a bit more detail than is going to be provided here. There was once an old house in Puddle Lane. The house had a clock in a little tower. A bell hung under the clock. A boy made of iron stood by the bell. He had a silver hammer. It's quite interesting to say a boy made of iron, but not a hammer made of silver, so they're not trying to be overly poetic. And he struck the time on the bell. But one night, at 12 o'clock, the Iron Boy struck the bell 13 times. That's why the book's called When the Clock Struck 13. And suddenly, he found that he could walk. The Iron Boy knew that a magician lived in the house. We're not told how, maybe just saw him wandering around in the garden. He climbed down the roof and went to see the magician. They've capitalised magician there. He's like Mr. Magician. The magician sent him to the magical country of Zorn, which is where the map was off. Remember, country, it's just called the country of Zorn. Magical is just not an official part of the name. It's not Mr. Magical Country of Zorn. Von Zorn. Be the German for that, in a flying saucer, and that's there on the map as well. It's flying away. This story tells you what happened when he got there. Here he is. It's a full moon. Funny things often happen on full moon nights, you know. It's a bit of a trope. The Iron Boy, nothing wrong with tropes, the Iron Boy lay in the flying saucer, looking down over the edge. The moon was shining down, I mentioned the moon, and he could see that the saucer was flying over a great forest. Okay, so he's not landed yet, he's still flying. That wasn't quite clear. Good thing they mentioned it then. Well done. Over a great forest. Few trees on the map, maybe that's where they are. It seemed a long time before the forest came to an end, and the flying saucer flew down. That's what flying saucers do, they fly. And landed on the grass in the country of Zorn. And just the other books are the same. You have a slightly longer, more syntactically complex text, normally on the left-hand side, and then a shorter syntactically more straightforward text on the right-hand side, so that you can like read along to readers of differing abilities or developmental stages. There are notes for the parent and teacher about how to do that. I'm not going to read all them. But you can do it. I'm reading it on my own, but it works well. The Iron Boy climbed out of the flying saucer. He looked all around him. The moon was shining down. He was standing on the edge of the forest. In front of him, he could see rolling hills. I thought they mentioned grass, but okay. These will be the hills here on the map. I quite like referring to the map. The Iron Boy looked back at the trees. A big white owl flew over the treetops. Now that is the owl from the second book, the Sandalwood Girl, and you can even see the Sandalwood Girl. She's sitting on the owl. It's quite cool the way the books overlap. It's almost like watching a TV show that says in last week's episode. But you also get some of the action from slightly different perspectives. Like we only got the Sandalwood Girl's perspective flying over the forest. Now we can see the boy, receiving her. The Iron Boy hid in the shadow of a bush and watched. There'll be shadows because it's such a full moon. The owl flew down to the grass near the Iron Boy, and a girl climbed off his back. "Goodbye, owl, and thank you," the girl said softly. "Goodbye," cried the owl. It's a talking owl. A bit weird. It doesn't just say hoot or twit to. It says goodbye. "The moon is going down. You must go west, towards the moon." The owl is imitating a cow. I believe it's saying moon, like that. So it's kind of like the twit to woo sound, but it just happens to start with the word moon, so that's what it sounds like, a cow. And he flew up into the sky, which cows don't often do. West, there's even a compass on the map, so west is that away, which would be towards the river there. And if the moon's going down, the moon does set in the west. A lot of people know the sun sets in the west, but the moon also sets in the west, so this is all very good. I like it when things get it right, you know. The girl looked around her. The Iron Boy stepped out into the moonlight. "Who are you?" cried the girl. She sounded frightened. "Don't be afraid," said the Iron Boy. "I'm a boy, made of iron. I used to strike a bell on a clock in Puddle Lane, but one night I struck the bell 13 times, and I found that I could walk." It's weird the way it says one night when it's tonight, because this is all in the same night. So I don't know why it says, "but tonight I struck the bell 13 times. This is a very odd sense of time, which you shouldn't do if he's a timekeeping boy. You should have a very precise sense of time. So I don't know why he's doing that. I mean, you wouldn't say one night if it's just happened a couple of hours ago. "I went to see the magician who lived in the house, and he sent me here to the country of Zorn." "I know you," cried the girl. "I lived in the house in Puddle Lane. I heard the clock strike 13. I went to see the magician too. The magician sent me here on the owl's back." So she doesn't mention the fact that that was only a couple of hours ago, mate. But I guess they both know that. Some sort of weird grey squirrel, like, beast there. Looks a bit nervous, old boy there. "I came in the magician's flying saucer," said the Iron Boy. "I'm looking for the Blue Mountains. I want to be like other boys." Like other boys now, we had a bit of discussion in the previous two books. Sometimes here, Iron Boy and Sandalwood Girl, they talk about being alive or really alive. And they never really explain what that meant, but now he's saying quite clearly that he wants to be like other boys, so I guess he wants to be made of human flesh. And grow. And grow up, and I guess die as well. Sorry about that, I had to pause briefly. Yeah, so he wants to be like other boys, which means he'll grow and probably also die, which you wouldn't do if you were just an iron boy, although you may rust, or whatever iron does when it gets old. So here he is talking. The magician said that if I wash in the Silver River, which is in the Blue Mountains, I shall no longer be made of iron, and I shall become really alive, like the boys in Puddle Lane. The magician told me to find the Silver River too, said the girl. I am made of sandalwood. I want to be like other girls. I must wash in the Silver River too. On both of those last 2 pages, the more complex side, said for the advanced reader, is the boy talking, and the other bit is the girl talking. So I hope people don't accidentally, unwittingly, subconsciously perhaps, make the connection that girls talk in a more simplified syntax, because it's just the way the book's written. And it may be, but they should try to give the Sandalwood girl some text on the left hand side to show that she can also be rather eloquent. Let's see. Squirrel guy's looking a bit fishy again. I mean, it looks almost blue there. Maybe they are in the Blue Mountains. Then let's go and look for the Silver River together, said the Iron Boy. The magician said that it would be a dangerous journey. It would be safer for 2 than it would be for 1. Will you go with me? Yes, I will go with you. Girl on the simple side again. Said the Sandalwood girl. The owl told me to go west, where the moon is going down. I didn't realise the owl was only talking to the girl when he said that, but I guess he was. Owl's return. Yeah, I guess he was, because Boy was still hiding in the shadow of that bush. Yeah, it's handy having a big moon going down to tell you where west is. Useful. Let's do as the owl said the Iron Boy. Makes sense. They set off together over the grass. The Iron Boy went first. He trod the grass down with his iron feet. There's I don't know, you get this kind of thing in board games or adventure stories, probably in video games as well, that each member of a party uses their own special skills to help you overcome certain obstacles, and now they're in this grass and the boy is using his enormous... He's a strong, heavy feet guy, so he's able to tread it down, so that's quite cool. I wonder if Sandalwood will have a special characteristic that will help them get over some other terrain later. So the Sandalwood girl could walk along easily, also being very chivalrous, if you like. They had not gone far when they saw a light ahead of them, and judging from the picture, they have seen a house. The light was shining out of the window of a little house. Let's go to the house, said the Iron Boy. Well, there's the Iron Boy talking in a very simpleton-like manner, because he's on the right-hand side, so that's okay. It's evening out then. We can ask the way to the Blue Mountains. I don't know if they're very naive, because they've never really seen much of the world, so I hope they don't get hoodwinked by anyone. He went to the door of the house and knocked. "Who's there?" cried a voice. "Who is knocking on my door at this time of night?" "A boy made of iron and a girl made of sandalwood," said the Iron Boy. He seems to think he's in charge. He's telling them what to do. He's taking over the speech. Yeah. "We are going to the Blue Mountain," even though it was the girl who knew the way to go. He was just like, "We are going to the Blue Mountains. Can you tell us the way?" I mean, he's the one with a big weapon as well. I mean, it's a hammer, but you could club someone with that quite easily. So maybe it's good that he stands in the front in case there's violence and danger. A very old woman opened the door. She had white hair and dark brown eyes. She had a red shawl. She looked at them kindly. "Dear me," she said, "are you all alone?" I mean, there's 2 of them, but alone, I guess, because they're children. She kind of means, do you not have any grown-up accompaniment? "It's a long, long way to the Blue Mountains." They could check your map. They don't seem to be on there. So they go beyond the map, which I guess does suggest that it's a long way, and it's a dangerous journey. "But we must go," said the Iron Boy. "Come in and sit down, and I'll tell you the way," said the old woman. Now, if this was like Hansel and Gretel, she'd start cooking them. But I don't know if sheets iron and wood, so maybe that's an advantage of not being made of tasty meat. The Iron Boy and the Sandalwood Girl went inside the little house. I think they said earlier that it was little. That's good. I think they did anyway. Yeah, they did. And sat down beside the fire. The Sandalwood Girl was careful not to sit too close to the flames. Well, again, that's a bit like in one of these games where you have someone who has a weakness against a certain element. So you have to protect them. Like if you had a grass Pokemon, you wouldn't put it up against a Glurak. Sorry, Glurak's the German, I believe it's called Charizard in English. You'd put your Iron Boy up. Although it's possible that metal Pokemon are weak against fire as well. Because of, like, I guess, metal. Like, thing about blacksmiths, metal can also be bent and damaged by fire. Or at least formed into certain shapes that you maybe don't want to be formed into. Anyway. But the boy seems... I mean, he's not sitting right by the fire. So it's probably fine, and it's probably not as hot as a blacksmith's fire. Now tell me about your journey, said the old woman. And she looked so kind that the Sandalwood Girl told her the whole story. That's this naivety for you. Stay here until the sun comes up, said the old woman. Then you will see a river at the bottom of the hill. You must go down the hill to the river. It isn't the Silver River, is it? Asked the Sandalwood Girl. She's getting really excited. Doesn't seem very likely if they've been told that the Blue Mountains are a very, very long way away. No, no, said the old woman. It's the Rushing River. If you remember our map, it has Rushing River and Wide River. It doesn't even have the Silver River on it, as I said. No Blue Mountains. But they can at least see... Oh, the old woman's house is on the map as well. And there seems to be a bridge over the river, so that's handy. Maybe they can use that. You will see a bridge. There we go. So most of the key things are on that map. That's a good map. I don't know if they have the map. I guess they don't. That's just for the reader. Yeah, the map is not actually part of the story. There was a map. I think in the Sandalwood Girl in the other book, the magician had a map of the country of Zorn. So maybe this is just a magician watching them from afar and plotting their path. That'd be quite a cool thing for him to do. Unless he's just gone back to bed. We can do it in the morning. Anyway. Well, you will see a bridge. You must cross the bridge and follow the path that you find on the other side. That makes sense. The path will take you to the top of a hill. From the top of the hill, you can see the Blue Mountains. Well, we can't on the map, but I guess you can see out beyond the map. But be careful, the bridge is very old, and the Rushing River is very deep. Not a good combo. Very old bridge, very deep river. The Iron Boy and the Sandalwood Girl stayed with the old woman until the sun came up. I don't know if they sleep. She just says stay here. She doesn't say get some rest. I mean, the Sandalwood Girl's kind of lying down as though she were resting, if not sleeping. But I don't know to what extent they're... If they get tired, like they experience some sort of emotion, so I don't know if weariness is one of them. Then they went outside and looked down the hill. They could see the Rushing River at the bottom of the hill. And there's the bridge in the picture as well. There's another quite nice angle. John Davis, he works quite well with angles and like perspectives. So here you're looking over the... I mean, this is almost like this is what the woman can see, I guess, because she's gone outside with them. She can see over their heads and down to the bridge. Gives you this sense of... direction. It was very wide. Well, that's not quite true, because actually the other river is called Wide River and it's much wider and very full of water. There was an old wooden bridge over the river. Hate to break it to you, but the bend in the river here doesn't match the bend on the map, so the cartographer has messed that up slightly. I mean, the river could have changed its course. They do that. So it may just be an old map. But it's already got very recent events on it, like the Iron Boy and the Sunwood Girl landed here, so it actually seems to be quite a new map. But yeah, there's clearly a bend round to the right here, and in the picture it's clearly bending a bit to the left. It's a very minor detail. Though, if you're trying to find your way somewhere, mixing up left and right is not always particularly helpful. So they've claimed it was very wide. Maybe the map just is junk. Maybe the magician's just like heard about the country of Zorn and done it kind of approximately, but maybe he's not been given very good information. Anyway, there was an old wooden bridge over the river. They could see a path on the other side leading up to the top of a big hill. The Iron Boy and the Sandalwood Girl said, "Goodbye and thank you." That's all in quotes. They're not saying goodbye and saying thank you. They're saying goodbye and thank you. Then they went down to the river. They came to the bridge. It was a very old bridge. We've heard that before. And it was full of holes. Oh dear. I guess that's a symptom of being very old. Making it full of holes. They stepped onto the bridge. The bridge shook under them, but there was no other way to cross the river. "Watch where you put your feet," said the Iron Boy. "Don't fall in." That sounds like good advice. "I'm made of iron, and if I fell in, I should sink to the bottom like a stone." There we are again. This is your metal guy. He was great treading down that grass, but now he doesn't want to get in the river and sink like a stone. Oh, and here we go. "I'm made of wood," said the Sandalwood Girl. "I can swim. I'll go ahead and see if the bridge is safe." So there you see they're using. And they're in that treacherous long grass that needs treading down. You've got Boy, and now they're going over this river that needs objects that float, and you've got the Wood Girl going first. It's pretty good. So the Sandalwood Girl went over the bridge, and the Iron Boy went after. Having that "so" in there is quite unusual for these right-hand side pages. Normally, they don't have many semi-superfluous words like that, but they do there. They just got to the middle of the bridge. Hi, sorry about that. I was interrupted there, and this is now actually several days later. So if there does seem to be a bit of a disconnect, it's up to that. But here we were. They had just got to the middle of the bridge. That's Iron Boy and Sandalwood Girl. If you remember, they were going over a bridge. The Sandalwood Girl was going first because she's made of wood and she can swim. When the Iron Boy caught his foot in a hole and fell down with a crash. Oh dear, he's really tumbled in head first. Look at that. And that's unfortunate because he actually told her to watch where she puts her feet. "Don't fall in," he said, and then he goes and doesn't watch where he puts his feet and falls in. So maybe he should do as he says rather than as he does. Yeah, and she's fallen in too, unfortunately. He's taken her down with her. The bridge broke. The Iron Boy and the Sandalwood Girl fell down into the river. The crash will not be the sound of iron hitting water, or of wood hitting water. It'll be the crashing of the wood breaking, I suppose. So that's a bit odd. I mean, you might expect a crack and a splash. Maybe the crack is from the wood cracking, and the sh is from the like the back end of the splash or the splosh. So they've kind of morphed into one cacophonous sound that was exclamation mark worthy. She's definitely changed her facial expression there. She's kind of going, "Oh no." Looks quite worried about head first boy. They're underwater now. Looks like those underwater levels from Mario or something. The Sandalwood Girl seized the Iron Boy as they fell. She remembered what he had said about sinking, which was that he would sink if he fell in. She held on tight to the Iron Boy as they splashed, there is a splash, down into the water. So he's dragged her down with him by the looks of it. This seems to be the riverbed, and they've both gone to the bottom, and they're being peered at by a couple of fish. The river was running very fast. it is known as the rushing river, so you'd expect that. But they say running fast, they don't say it was rushing fast. But the sandalwood girl didn't let go. She sank down under the water, but she didn't let go of the iron boy. Again, there are two slightly longer sentences with buts in there, whereas previously they might have just broken that into small sentences. So I don't know if they're trying to slowly, subtly challenge the reader somewhat. I'm just saying he's got his hammer. He seems to have dropped his hammer, but it is still there. But if it's made of silver, it's probably quite heavy too. Let's see. She pushed her head up out of the water. Well done. This is quite a good picture. There they are. They've both got their heads above water now. I don't know if you need to... Like, I guess they need air to breathe. Guess their state of life, this kind of in-between state, does dictate that they do need air to breathe. Although not necessarily, it might just be they don't want it stuck on the bottom of a river. She pulled the iron boy's head out too. She began to swim. Kick with your legs, she said to the iron boy. That's what people normally kick with. Or you can kick just with your feet, not with your ankles. So she's saying kick with your legs, so do more large swinging movements. It will help to keep you up. It's kind of treading water lesson here. So the iron boy kicked out with his legs. Not quite sure what they mean by kicking out. And the sandalwood girl held on to him. She just managed to keep their heads above water. Well, it seems to imply that they need to breathe, need to access the air with their mouths or noses. The river was running very fast. They said that on the last page, remember? The water splashed over the sandalwood girl, but she didn't let go of the iron boy. She must be quite strong then, to be able to hold up this iron boy. I mean, obviously it's got the upward force of the water as well, but he would generally be sinking. I don't really know the strength of sandalwood, because she doesn't want her arm to just break off. That wouldn't help anyone. This fish looks quite worried about what's happening. I hope it keeps its gills underwater, otherwise it's going to be in all kinds of trouble. Okay, her arms began to ache. She was getting very tired. So they can feel pain as well, or at least aching is kind of pain. She was getting very tired. Okay, so they also have an ability to become fatigued. They can do a lot that real people can do. Just when she thought that she couldn't hang on any longer, the iron boy said, "I can feel the ground. One of my feet is on the stones." I guess the river's become more shallow. A tree was growing by the river. Oh, it might be on like a bend. On the inside of river bends, the water tends to be more shallow because of, I think it's called sedimentation or something. Though normally you would be rushed around the outside of the bend, so maybe the sandalwood girl has been manoeuvring them deliberately to a shallower spot. A tree was growing by the river. The iron boy seized a root of the tree. The sandalwood girl climbed out of the water onto the root, and the iron boy climbed up beside her. "We are safe," said the sandalwood girl. "We are safe on the other side." Oh, they've even got across the river. Well, that's well done. That is actually quite important, because you don't want to end up on the wrong side after all that. Oh, they've done well there. Congratulations. They've done quite well to even maintain the sense of orientation about which way is which. No, very good. So they're safe on the other side. They climbed along the tree root. This is probably just like the nice little ending I expect now, where they just wrap it up. I think they've had the peak moment of drama. They climbed along the tree root and onto the grass on the river bank. Then they sat in the sunshine to dry. I guess the iron could rust. I mean, he isn't often referred to as the galvanised boy. He seems to have lost his hammer in that picture, and in that one. So I guess he's lost his hammer on the bottom of the river. I hope he doesn't need that. There are no bells that need banging. Donging. So yeah, it's important to get dry. Then they sat in the sunshine to dry. They could see the bridge. The bridge was so broken that they couldn't have gone back even if they had wanted to. But they don't. That's what I was saying, why it's good to be on the right side. So as soon as they were dry, they climbed the hill just as the old woman had told them to. So the hill was recognisable then. There are a couple of weird blue things, look a bit like squirrels here. You may have seen them before. Or something that looked quite similar. Maybe that's just a sort of rodent that's native to Zorn. Yeah, there was one earlier. So they're still there. Then when they came to the top of the hill, they stopped. They stood still and looked. Far away, very far away, they saw the Blue Mountains. This book is called On the Way to the Blue Mountains, so it doesn't sound like they're going to get there during this book. Oh, that's the end. Well, that's also then kind of signalling what's going to happen in the next book. Far away, very far away, they saw the Blue Mountains. So the implication is that the next book is going to be them continuing their journey. Well, that was quite a nice book. I'm just going to look how it started, because they often have quite a good start. I know it starts with a recap and then it ends. Okay, they don't really mention the Blue Mountains very early in the book, so it's not like you have that as a framing thing. It's quite sad though, they lost his hammer. Look on the front cover, there they are. It's just before the moment of peril, which you don't know, well, not just peril, but disaster. So they must continue without a hammer. If this was some sort of computer game, he'd probably like get an attack dice fewer or something, or get his bonus attack points knocked off. But it would mean that he could maybe equip himself with something else. Maybe he can get himself a shield or a longbow or something. We'll see in the next book. But yes, the story continues to be exciting. I quite like the map at the start and the way you can refer to it and you understand that this is the rushing river. Although they did say at one point in the book that the river was very wide, even though the other river is called Wide River. So just imagine how wide that is going to be. But we shall see in the next book, I suppose, if they go that way. Anyway, that was On the Way to the Blue Mountains. Sorry about the interruption. I hope this didn't feel too disjointed for you. It did for me slightly. But hopefully that didn't ruin your fun. And do join me again for another of Mr. Bench's book reviews. Bye!